everyone. Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. Happy January 20th. Inauguration Day. Happy Inauguration Day, everyone. Celebrating the peaceful transfer of power. And you have entered today's webinar, how to easily sell more. How to easily manage your profits on Amazon, specifically for 2021. We'll be introducing our new FeedbackWiz new profit and accounting tool. So let's go ahead and want to introduce the first panelist we have. My name is Sam Niedermeyer. I'll be your host over the next 30 minutes. And our expert panelist, he is also the CEO and founder of FeedbackWiz, Mr. Henson Wu. Henson, how are you today?
Hey everybody, I'm doing well. Hopefully you guys can all see me because we're having some technical difficulties, but I think everything's okay now. So happy that everyone's here to join us today. So go over our new profit and accounting tool that we have finally got out of beta, and now it's for GA. So we're gonna happily demo that for you guys today.
Outstanding. Thanks so much. Welcome all of you. We're going to go ahead and go straight into our presentation here. Excuse me. Actually, Henson, if you could share it right there. I'm also having some video issues. This is starting terribly.
Yeah, I wonder why something is not working. Okay, let's see here. Here we go. Can you guys see everything?
Perfect.
Okay.
Excellent. So as we said, today is the how to easily manage your profits on Amazon with FeedbackWiz's new profit and accounting tool. I am your host, Sam Niedermeyer. I am the digital marketing manager for FeedbackWiz. And you just heard from Henson Wu, we are now all up to date with our regularly scheduled video programming today. All said, he is the CEO of FeedbackWiz. And FeedbackWiz, we are helping Amazon sellers drive sales, increase profits, and grow their brand. So let's go ahead and get into the agenda for today. Some key takeaways before we get started. So just a couple notes that we want you to kind of think about as we share some insights and then go into and explore the wonderful tool that we've shared with the world recently. So just think about this, right, as we go through over the next 30 minutes. More than ever before, consumers are shopping online through Amazon, right? But unfortunately, many sellers on Amazon don't know that they're leaving money on the table. So that's kind of the challenge that a lot of sellers and a lot of our customers, clients, people we talk to, a lot of our research says, fortunately, there is a solution for that. Technology, right? It's designed to support full management of all your Amazon orders, fees, PPC spend, COGS, expenses, just to provide you with full visibility into the product insights and data you need to assess trends and easily manage your profits and sell more in 2021. So kind of think about those two things as we move forward. And as we get into today's agenda, first thing we're going to go over is kind of the state of Amazon selling in 2021, where sellers are, where consumers are, what has happened with COVID. We're going to go over the challenge of assessing all this financial data. Hint, there's been an explosion of sales on e-commerce over the last 4 quarters, as I'm sure you could imagine. And finally, we'll show what the impact of technology looks like for sellers and how they can maximize their profits and their sales. So as we get started, we think about this agenda here. I've got a couple of fun facts, right? So this is kind of where the state of selling is on Amazon and for e-commerce sellers and consumers as well. So during the third quarter of 2020, those are the recent stats. The fourth quarter stats will come out, I believe, February 19th, so mark your calendars. During the third quarter of 2020, Amazon generated a total net sales of about $96.15 billion, and that's nearly $30 billion more than in the same quarter of 2019. We all know with the pandemic and the lockdown happening, that's probably a little direct correlation there. I think it's safe to say, but it's also very easy for for sellers to really connect with their consumers across the Amazon and e-commerce channels. And even more interesting is that of all those units sold on Amazon, 54% come from 3Ps, right? What we call 3Ps, third-party sellers. So, there's this kind of thought process, and for all you sellers out there, should be all of you that are listening in, you already know that there's a little bit of disconnect between Amazon sales and what people think are Amazon sales compared to 3Ps. Unfortunately, what that does is it kind of 54% of people selling on Amazon or sorry, 54% of all sales, right? So 3Ps are experiencing some issues, and that kind of falling under the umbrella of Amazon's compliance and rules. And one of those rules is fee changes that have occurred in 2021. Henson, can you kind of enlighten us on some of these fee changes that sellers can expect coming into this year?
Yeah, so from last year, 2019 to 2020, we saw an average increase of FBA fulfillment fees about 4% throughout. And then Amazon also raised the average FBA monthly inventory storage fees by a whopping 8% for the timeframe from January to September. And based on historic trends with Amazon fee changes, we're definitely going to probably see some kind of fee hike in 2021. However, due to COVID-19, Amazon has recently stated that they're not going to impose any fee changes until June. And traditionally, they usually increase fees in February. So right now we have about 5 months to kind of enjoy the 2020 fees. But sellers should definitely be aware that coming in June, we'll definitely see an increase in fees across the board. And Amazon really justifies these fee changes as they're improving their platform, they're adding more features, so it's just a necessary fees that sellers are going to have to incur. So most sellers kind of don't realize or they don't track these fees, or sometimes they don't forecast their fees in the future, and this would translate into decreasing your net profit or your margins for your business. So come June, we'll probably update everyone with the new fees, but this is something to be aware of for sellers.
Yeah, so I guess and like you said, Henson, just to hit on that, this goes into kind of what the biggest challenges that we've seen from our research over the last year and last 6 months. Businesses are struggling to gain those full insights into anything from Amazon fees, sales taxes, adjusted margins after fees, PPC spend, promos, fixed and recurring costs. Does this sound about accurate with what you've seen over the last several months to years?
Yeah. I mean, these are all things that it's not easy to track and manage. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that through Seller Central, but the difficulty really is that a lot of sellers have to download different settlement reports. And there's just a lot of different data points in different areas, and to kind of manage them all on one platform is a bit of a struggle for sellers, and to accurately, get all this data together sometimes is not so easy.
Right, and I guess that's kind of one of the reasons, right? So when we think about technology and we think about software, and we had this great question from Zubair Raja, forgive me if I didn't pronounce that correctly, but she's asking if this tool can replace QuickBooks. But we'll get to that and shortly. But technology like QuickBooks or some of these other softwares are able to grant businesses full insights into their data, right? So there's this term in the workforce called rogue spend, which is basically that's unaccounted for expenses across different departments, right? The different lines of business. It's very similar. So if you're in a corporate atmosphere, you hear this term rogue spend, there's almost this rogue costs or rogue spend here as well for businesses when we talk about some of the challenges that they might not know in terms of when they're selling or different lines right there. So what we have right there, Henson, you want to hit on that next slide there? Right. So we do have the profits and accounting tool, right? So this is something that was launched recently, and we'll move on to the next slide. And Henson, you can kind of share a little bit of high level insights about what this profit and accounting tool is for Amazon sellers.
Yeah. So FeedbackWiz, for people that don't know, we've been around since 2017, and originally we were building software around email marketing, email automation, get reviews. And now we've started to develop some other tools that are very useful to sellers. And our first powerful tool that we just announced is the financial management software. And basically this tool, not just aggregates all the data and information, just like, most other softwares, but we really wanted to kind of, just kind of pinpoint some of the pain points of sellers and what kind of data they really want to see, and being able to customize that information and be able to see exactly what they want to see and how to see it is basically what our software is trying to solve. So things like in-depth data analysis, analytics, insight, being to import different information like expenses and cost of goods, and then be able to track all the performances, right? So that's kind of the main the goal of our tool here. So.
Yeah, it all comes down just to having deeper insights into data, right? So you have more data, you have more data-driven decisions. And with that, you have efficiency. So you'll see some of our beta users are saving several hours a day just by not going from spreadsheet to spreadsheet. If you think about efficiency and having multiple screens open with several spreadsheets and tabs, one way around that is to have an all-in-one dashboard, right? So there's the time efficiency. You can make better, deeper data-driven decisions, right? So you have what's working, what's not working in your inventory to help boost those sales and profits, and maybe kind of stay away from some of the inventory that's not performing as well. And then with Amazon fees, you're seeing drastic reduction in Amazon fees along our beta users, correct?
Yeah, so the ability to, be able to see all the different type of fees that are being incurred for each product gives you a lot of value and insight, because sometimes sellers might not know they're being charged for a certain type of fee, and by able to identify these fees early or these different type of trends can definitely help you save a lot of money in the long run. So yeah, we're gonna kind of do a quick demo. This is pre-recorded, so we're just gonna go through the tool real fast to kind of go over the high level features, and you guys can watch this while I play. So hopefully you guys can hear this.
We're going to give you a quick tour of the Feedback Wiz Profits. As you can see here, we're in the Profits section under Dashboard. There's 5 different sections in here, and I'm going to start off with the Dashboard page. This Dashboard page helps display all the aggregate data from single or multiple marketplaces of all your Amazon products and sales. So you can see here, you have the ability to choose single or multiple marketplaces, and this would aggregate all the information together, and you can also change the currency to currency of your choice. So this will do the calculation on the fly, and then you can also choose different time points of what kind of data you want to see. So if you like 180 days or yearly data, you can come in here and select your time frame of choice. Scrolling to our next section, we have quick overview. This gives you more details on different metrics within your Amazon sales. As you can see here, you have a different time frame that you can see your information on. You can see detailed information about units sold, orders, sales, cost of goods, expenses. Amazon fees are all broken down here. You can see there's all these different types of fees that you can view, along with things like storage fees and subscription fees and SBA inbound fees. This also gives you a quick overview on your PPC spending, impressions, clicks, things like top return reasons and most refunded products. All this data from this section can also be exported from this button right here. Our next section here is called Product Labels. What this section allows you to do is group together different products and give it a custom product name. So for example, if you had 21 different products that are under electronics category, then you can go into our Products Manager page and basically group those together and tag them as electronics. And we'll pull together all the data for electronics or fashion or games or home. And this way you can see the aggregate data between different groups of products, not just by individual ASINs or total products. So you can compare different metrics such as units sold or orders or PPC. So this data here is all grouped together, and you can select multiple labels and compare them between different time frames. This is the top products section. Basically, this section gives us detailed views on your best and worst performing products. So you have the ability to filter by products, by sales, and you can also filter by labels. So they're broken down by month, and you can see all the details of your best and worst performing products. Our next section here is Expense Manager. Purpose of this page here is it allows you to input data for your business expenses. So things like utilities, or wages or travel, maintenance, depreciation. These are all data points that you should be able to calculate in your true profit and loss of your business. So we give you the ability to import this data through a CSV file if you want to bulk input, and you also have the ability to export the data as well. So here you can easily add an expense manually, either by fixed costs or monthly recurring. So you can set a start date and a stop date for the expense, and you can even tie it to an ASIN. And once you call it, give it a name or an amount, we'll add it in here, and this would be calculated with your profit and loss information. Here we're in our cost of goods manager, and this allows you to tie different costs directly to a different ASIN or SKU. You can see there's an ability here to search and filter. You can import and export the data, and to add a different added cost of goods, you just click on add COGS, and you have the ability to select the marketplace for COGS, either by unit or fixed cost, and the ability to set a start and end date for these costs. Within here, you'll be able to see by each ASIN product, and then you can expand to see all the different cost of goods that are tied within these ASINs. This is our reports page here, and what this page is showing is a breakdown in weekly and monthly and daily timeframes of all your products. So you can see here that in a weekly report, you can see by weeks and all the information, and then within here you can even see each day's breakdown. And then scrolling down here gives you more details on the monthly reports, so you can see exactly how your products perform by month and down to each day within the month here. We're going to go to the product manager page here, and you can see there's a different type of layout, and we're going to talk about the profits section of this page. So this page here gives you very detailed data on specific ASINs and SKUs. So you have the ability to filter different information here. You can choose by labels, you can choose different timeframes, and again, you can aggregate or choose single or multiple marketplaces. These cards here give you the aggregate information of all the products that are being shown on this page here. So they add up all the information. And within this product manager page, you can see that there's a lot of different data points that tell you exactly price, units, sales, taxes, and different types of trend graphs. So this can all be configured under the customized column section. So you can choose exactly which data points you want to view each time you come in. Now this page is very nice because it gives you the ability to see trends in different time frames. So if I'm looking at a range of, let's say, 4 or 5 months, then you can kind of get a view of what these details, trends look like. However, you go too far out, you might not be able to see all the information. So you can come in here, and clicking into each graph, you have the ability to actually see exactly what these data points look like, and you can also compare against different types of data points like refunds versus P2C. You can change it to bar and graph, and you can even show things like the previous periods, compare the difference between there. This page here also allows you to use bulk functions. So if you want to, let's say, filter for a specific product, and you want to tie these to a specific label, then you can select all the products on this page or select single products, and you can now create bulk labels. And by creating bulk labels, this allows us to look at aggregate data in the profits dashboard for these specific products. There's also other functionality such as adding notes in here. So if you enable the notes column under customized columns, you can add notes, and then you can also directly add cost of goods from this page as well. So if you notice that if you hover over some of these data points, you'll be able to get some more information, such as Amazon fees. So for each ASIN, you can see exactly what kind of fees are being charged in each time frame. And all these graphs are interactive as well. So if you want to see more details on your refunds, then you can come in here and click refunds and the date range you want to see. And there's a lot of different filters here, and I won't go through them today, but you guys can come in and play with these filters. That gives you more information about each of these metrics.
If you guys have any additional questions, we'll be happy to stay on and answer those questions for you.
So we do have a couple more, but I want to make sure that we provide the 50% off for your first billed month. So just as a gift to say thank you for attending this webinar and demo. Again, we'll be sending all this information in a follow-up email with both resources that we've had here and we're sharing via our blog, YouTube videos, or any other type of support articles for our wonderful customers. We'll be sharing that in a follow-up email. But just as a quick summary, Henson, give us a quick summary right here. We'll give our overall gift to our wonderful viewers, and then we'll have a couple more questions if people want to stay on.
Yeah, so quick summary. This tool is the main goal here is to help sellers accurately track all your entire P&L for entire business, right? So all the different metrics like sales, taxes, promos, PPC, refunds, everything is in here. Right, and then the ability to import business expenses and COGS expenses, and then the ability to download these reports. And like I mentioned later, that in future revisions, we'll have better integration with some of these other financial accounting tools like QuickBooks that can help you easily organize. At the end of the year, you might have like P&L statements or different reports you might want to generate for your business. So data visualization. This is very I think this is what really stands out between our solution and some of the other solutions out there. There's a lot of graphs and trends that just help sellers visualize easier than just sometimes looking at straight numbers. So as I showed earlier, there's a lot of different ways you can compare different metrics against each other. So you guys can definitely play around with that and let me know. Data grouping. So mentioned earlier, the customized labels, ability to aggregate all your data across single and multi Amazon marketplaces, which is very powerful. So, a lot of sellers that might be selling on, 10 different Amazon marketplaces, they might want to generate a report just for North America or just for Europe, right? As you showed earlier in the dashboard section, it's very easy to just select the marketplaces that you want to see the data for, and then you can download all that information right away. And then the ability to create custom ASINs and groups, tagging them as electronics, toys and games, jewelry, etc. This gives you better insight on how your products are performing by category, right? And, you can also break it down by, compare those categories between different marketplaces. So I want to, see how my electronics products are performing in US versus in Europe. Right, that data is very easily attainable inside our platform, and just ability to convert currency, I think, is a plus. Live currency conversion. A lot of sellers sell in Europe, or China sellers might not be so familiar with U.S. dollars, right? So they might want to see it in yuan, right? So this gives you ability to view the currency in what you want to see it in. Sorry about that. I don't know why I did that. Whoops. So next slide. Coming updates. So we have, this tool is good to go, and we have a lot of new features that we want to add in that's not in yet. And we would love also for any sellers with additional feedback or needs that they need. But our coming updates really are focused around business analytics and alerts. So a lot of the data that we display, we want to give sellers ability to set triggers so we can send notifications or emails to them. So things like, when my Amazon fees increase by 10% for no reason out of some product, I want to be able to be alerted by that right away. So we can set up these customized triggers for like any metrics like fees, sales, refunds, units ordered, right? The next thing is balance sheets and P&L statements. These are good ways for end of the year taxes, right? For your CPA to be able to get all the information all at once, everything broken down easily. And then, as I mentioned earlier, data masking. So ability to disable display of specific financial and product data within our tool. So that's pretty much it for our profits tool.
Yeah, and just to say thanks for going through our video demo and our actual demo. We're actually going to give you each of you that attended 50% off your first billed month, right? So we'll send out the promo code to you. It's FBW Profits 50. If you're a new user or you haven't used Feedback Wiz before, you get a 30-day free trial, and then you get 50% off the month after that when you stay on the platform. So it's a wonderful savings. Gives you 60 days to really use the complete tool and all the entire suite of tools for Feedback Wiz to give that a try. And we'll also send up some references so that you are fully armed with all the resources you need to really maximize your profits in 2021. And this will all be in the follow-up email. So we do want to thank you for attending. If for those of you that do have time, we do have a couple questions that we want to answer. So Henson, if you've got a few more minutes, we have some questions from some people here that are looking to get some answers. You want to stick around?
Yeah, let's help everyone answer the questions.
All right, great. So one question that comes in. So thank you all for sticking around. These are great questions, really engaging. Sam S is asking about the cost and the price. And it's really reflective around the different plans we have to offer.
Yeah, so we have just the cost and price for this tool is based on your orders. You can go to our pricing page on Feedback Wiz to see more details. There's just 3 different plans, and it's just based on your monthly order average. So if you're pulling less than 3,000 orders a month, it's $20 a month. I think up to 6,000 orders is $50 a month, and then anything over 6,000 orders is $100 a month, unlimited. So yeah, for more details, you can go to our pricing page for that.
And of course, Sam S, if you do sign up, you will be able to enjoy the entire suite for 30 days. And if you stick on the platform, an additional 50% off the pricing, the profits tool. Dora Matasevich, again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name, asked if we're able to compare one period of time versus the same period of time last year. This was done while you were going over the dashboard in the product manager.
Yeah, you can. So if you go under any of the graphs, all the interactive graphs have a button in there that lets you compare previous period. So if you're comparing, this year from January to end of January, you can click on that button and it'll show you the period of January 2020 to the same time frame. So that's doable for all metrics.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see the visualizations and the graphs right there as you see over time, and you always want to see trending up. Stephen Arhanila, Stephen, I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your last name, asks if we're able to, is it possible to export the data in the project manager to Excel or CSV?
Yeah, the product manager does have a export function, I believe. If it's not in there, I think it would be pushed out very shortly. So all the data is under reports, so you can generate the reports under report section, which I didn't show you. So, yeah, it is possible. Yeah.
And Stephen actually also says he wants to let us know that he loves the tool. They're using it on a regular basis on their business. So thanks, Stephen. And he does have a third question, although he says it's more of a suggestion for future roadmap. So love our beta. I love all of our clients and beta testers out there giving us great feedback. This is the reason we do that, is we take the feedback and we tweak it to make sure that our development team, our engineering team makes it to you to fit your needs and to run your business your way. So I'm going to go ahead and share his insight here. It says it would be cool to have a pricing what if capability where you could enter an alternative price for your product and see what your profits would have been in the period if you had charged that price. So what do you think about that, Henson?
Yeah, that's an awesome feature. We actually have a feature that I didn't mention, but one of the things that we wanted to do was give you a break-even cost price. So we'll basically, if you enter all your cost of goods and expenses for the product itself, we'll basically tell you what you need to sell that product at to break even, right? So it's kind of similar to what you're asking for, but I definitely will put that in our product development spreadsheet, and we'll see if we can get that for you.
Yeah, and if anybody else, current users, returning users, new users, whoever you are, any feedback, we love taking that insight and tweaking the product. Our development team is able to get some feedback, and the more feedback we get, the more intuitive and reactionary or inflexible our tool can be. Troy Trin has a question asking, will you add a feature to see my inventory and how many days left based on my selling rate? So what do you think about that in terms of in the roadmap or something that could be comparable we use right now?
Yeah, so right now we have limited inventory data, but this data will be imported very shortly. And We are developing a brand new inventory management tool, which I haven't really told anyone about, but it is in the progress right now. So this will be integrated with the Profits tool. It's going to be, very comprehensive. So any inventory related features would be addressed in that tool coming this year.
And another question here from Jen M. Is it possible to run reports against custom date ranges? We reviewed that a little bit during the demo, but go ahead and share.
Yes, you can definitely, like all the modules inside the Profits page in the dashboard allow you to change different custom date ranges, right? So you can export that data based on those modules, and also in the report section, it allows you to generate a report on, whichever date range you want as well. So it is possible, yes.
All right, and then I did miss a question from Steven. So Steven, thanks for your questions. He's putting us through the ringer today, but he does say he loves the tool, so this is great. Follow up on the revenue sales price question. So I guess we'd asked his questions earlier, but he's giving an example here. For example, if revenue in a period is $1,000 for a product, but at some points in the period we charge $10 for the product, other points we charge $12 for the product, other points we charge $14 for the product, can we see how the $1,000 is in revenue is broken out by the various offering sales prices?
Yeah, you would be able to see this if you change the time frame. So if you're inside the, let's say the ASIN level in the product manager page, it would tell you, the different sales prices for those timeframes. And also, yeah, I think in the orders page, which is not part of the Profits tool, but it's part of the Feedback Wiz tool, it does, generate all the data points coming in for each sale. So that data is available. So can we see how the $1,000 in revenue is broken down? Yeah, I mean, I'll take a quicker look into seeing how it can be broken down, but the data is definitely filterable. Maybe if you want to view it in a certain way, we can think about how to display that in a better way for you guys.
Excellent. And then we do have one final question. This one's from Jennifer Phillips. Sorry if I missed this, but if I'm using a different app for PL today, is it possible for me to import historical sales, expense, COGS, etc. data into Feedback Wiz? I think we know the answer. I think we did kind of go over it a little bit, but kind of there is some custom things that the person has to do, correct?
Yeah, it's actually very simple. In our cost of goods and expense manager that maybe you didn't see, but I was showing that there's an import button, which allows you to download a sample CSV file that has, specific columns exactly for, what you're looking for. And then you can import that data back into our tool, and then we'll populate all that data for you right away. So it's as long as you have everything in a spreadsheet, you can easily import that into our tool.
All right, and we do have one final question. This comes from Sam S. So Sam, I'm gonna ask this as you've written it, but I think if I didn't get this correctly in terms of what you're asking, please hit in the chat. He asks if there's an aging report for inventory that I'm assuming is available to actually on the dashboard or available for export.
As of right now, there's no aging inventory report, but like I mentioned earlier, when we have our inventory solution out there, all these types of features and inventory related features would be addressed.
Excellent. Yeah, this was great. If anybody has any other questions, please feel free. But I do want to say thank you so much for attending this webinar today. Don't worry about it, Jennifer. If you said sorry you missed it, don't worry, that's okay. Just want to let you know what's next. We are going to send a follow-up email. It's going to have the resources. We'll have the link to the recording of the webinar now. We'll also provide the link to the video that we were supposed to share, which goes a little bit more depth. It's about 7 minutes into the actual dashboard of the PL tool. And then we'll also provide some resources on how you can claim your promo code where to find us, where you can get actionable insights on selling on Amazon and merely help you maximize your profits and sales, and everything else you need to know about profit and accounting software. Henson, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and showing off the demo that we had live. By the way, you got a lot of compliments saying you did a wonderful job live, much better than the video. Just want to let you know that.
Yeah, thank you guys. I was a little nervous there because I was like, oh man, I can't believe this thing is not working in my computer. Yeah, I don't know. Zoom was giving me a crash error every time I shared it. So, but yeah, like Sam said, we'll share all this information in an email. So we'll send you guys, we can send you guys the slides and the videos, and we'll have this on YouTube so you can rewatch it if you like. And feel free to send us an email anytime, support@feedbackwiz.com if you guys have any specific questions or features that you guys want to see inside FeedbackWiz, and we'll be happy to help accommodate those for you.
Yeah, and I'll provide my information as well. Don't hesitate to email me. Let me know any questions. I'll be sure to provide you the right resources. Guys, thank you so much. Please stay safe. Please wear a mask. Do what you got to do. Let's enjoy the rest of 2021. Let's go sell. Have a wonderful day. Be safe. Henson, talk to you later.
Thank you, guys.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and for more information, please visit feedbackwiz.com.